Hey guys, how's it going? Icy Cat here, and today I want to talk to you about hit registration errors in Rainbow Six Siege. This and other problems, like rubber banding, are issues that are popping up more and more frequently after the recent update. But what's behind this, and what can be done? We'll talk about that next. This video is going to use a slightly different format. I've asked for user submissions in the community. A lot of people have been experiencing this problem, and I wanted to give them a chance to share some of the things that they've had to deal with. Hit registration problems take a wide variety of forms. Most often you'll be engaging a target and your shots either won't line up or they'll connect, but the full damage will actually fail to register, or in some cases no damage at all. Other times a rubber banding issue may pop up. Regardless, all of these community submissions have been put together to kind of highlight things that are going on in the game right now. So what causes hit registration problems in the first place? Well, when you're playing a single-player game, all the information related to what a player does and how it impacts the game happens locally on their machine. When playing an online multiplayer game, the information related to how a player moves, shoots, or otherwise interacts with their environment has to occur on a central server. Your machine, or the client, is still doing its work, of course, but now all that information gets passed along, so everyone playing sees the same things at more or less the same time. Things like latency, ping, connection speed, server speed, and capacity, and more are all factors to the exchange of this info. Hit registration, lag, rubber banding, these are all issues that occur because of the delay of the translation of information between the server and multiple clients. The problem boils down to either bad hardware in the server or client, or a bad connection between the server or client. Now, hardware could be a factor on PC as there's so many possible hardware configurations, but that can only account for a small fraction of cases. And it doesn't explain why problems occur on console where the hardware is unified across all clients. Most of us have seen some pretty severe hit registration issues at one time or another. I don't see them a lot, but I do definitely run into them from time to time. They can cost you the match when they do. Other people run into the issue far more frequently. There's lots of reasons why some people experience it more than others. Your distance to your nearest physical server is one, your ISP's configuration is another. There's nothing you can do about that one. If your ISP is using lots of relay servers, you'll suffer degradation of speed of communication. Sometimes things like firewall or antivirus can get in the way, but again, that doesn't always explain why console users have the problem too. Also, it's easy to forget that if you have laptops, desktops, tablets, phones, these are all things that are taking up bandwidth. While you play, you could be eating into your own ability to efficiently send and receive these signals. If somebody else in the house is watching Netflix while you play, that's not going to be doing you any favors. One place where PC users have an advantage is that they can choose the data center they connect to. Console users can only do this under certain settings in custom games, but they can't change which one they connect to for general matchmaking under casual or ranked. I'm in the Midwest, yet for some reason I rarely connect to the central US server. I'm almost always placed under the East US server. Now I can only assume that under the hood it's seeing a more optimal connection and going there instead, even though it's further away from my location physically. But the truth is, I don't really know. Since that's automated on consoles, I can't choose the central server even if I wanted to. I have to live with the results I get. Then we get back to the servers themselves. Are they at too much capacity? Are they not optimized? Are there software issues on that end of the interface? We just don't know. We do know that Microsoft Azure servers are used, and there have been rumors of problems with that platform in general. But since I'm not really well versed in IT or online architecture, I don't know how credible that is. What we do know for a fact is the community at large has always battled issues in Rainbow Six Siege. How many of us have been disconnected mid-match? Booted in the middle of ranked play and trying to rejoin just to avoid the penalty? How many times has a squad lost a member during matchmaking only have to back out and re-invite them again? We've probably all experienced rubber banding, and cases where we get shot by people that couldn't possibly see us yet, but on their screen they could, and vice versa. Peeker's advantage is a real thing, and it's always been a heavy factor in Siege. Ever dumped a half dozen rounds into someone and watched the blood splatter only for them to kill you and show that they have a full health bar in the kill cam? Yeah, me too. It was pretty bad before Black Ice launched. The problem seemed to improve with Dustline, and since Skull Rain it feels more pronounced than ever. It's not a placebo effect. People all over the community are reporting higher and higher instances of these kinds of things happening. Now, I'm not a programmer, so I don't really know how implementing a new update can affect hit registration, rubber banding, and connection issues in general. Maybe something just isn't optimized. Maybe it's unrelated to that. When Skull Rain launched, there was a free weekend that saw a huge influx of new players, and there were news articles about how the Siege player base was larger now than it was even at launch. The game's growing, and maybe there's simply a server capacity issue and they just need higher capacity or more servers. There's definitely some areas of the world where that would be the case. I have people tell me all the time how they're in the Middle East or Africa and they have to connect to some server thousands of miles away from where they actually are because they don't have a local server option. And there's a few other spots around the world like that too. Honestly, without seeing behind the curtain, it's probably hard to gauge exactly which of these factors is at fault. Probably there's more than just one. Regardless, something needs to be done. Season 3 is supposed to be all about the player and game health. To say these issues get in the way of that would be an understatement. While there are of course some client-side issues that increase these problems, there's also obviously some server-side issues happening as well. The common response is Ubisoft just has crap servers. But that's just a blanket statement, and that can mean anything or nothing. It has no substance. When they fixed the problems post-Black Ice, it wasn't because they went out and bought a bunch of new servers. It was because they worked through the issues and fixed the problems one at a time until it was better. Dustline was the smoothest period we had yet because of that. I'm not saying it was perfect, but it was better. Every time a new patch or content is added, there's new things to interact with each other and optimize. Right now, hit registration problems are at an all-time high. There's no doubting that. The devs know about it and they're working on it. They reach out to us through the forum and the subreddit and they let us know that these issues are the highest priority for them. One thing to address on that point though is that people get really worked up about a new skin being released or a new operator buff or nerf when these problems exist. But they also need to remember that these are different departments. I mean, it's not like they're going to force the art department or the level designers to take a month of vacation until the online architects and programmers optimize the netcode and only then can those other departments go back to work. I hear that comment all the time, but it really has no bearing on anything as these departments are totally unrelated to each other. The guys that make the textures have nothing to do with the people that program your netcode. That said, this particular round of hit registration errors and rubber banding and whatnot has been particularly apparent, and I hope Ubisoft does everything in their power to reduce that going forward. Obviously that is their intent. I mean, there's no denying that. They want to stay on top of these things, but the execution needs to follow. And it's a hard position to be in. Many of us really love this game, but we struggle through the gameplay issues that arise when these things occur. Hit registration issues are a really big deal, especially for competitive players. Likewise, if you're playing ranked and you get demoted because of a loss due to one of these issues, that's a real problem. Even if you're playing casual, nobody likes to lose a round there, whether it's because your shot didn't connect like you thought it would, or you try to enter into a room and you rubber band back out and get killed in the process. It's a tough position to be in. We don't like playing that way. They don't like having us play that way. They're trying to do something about it. We get impatient with them and want them to do something about it yesterday. It's all a balancing act. But the community managers have let us know that it is their highest priority to work on these issues. We do have the September patch coming up in just a few short weeks, and hopefully we'll see really solid progress on this at that point. Once again, a big thank you to all the community members that submitted their contributions. If I get a positive response from you guys, I may consider doing this for submissions from the community for future topics as well. Now, in the meantime, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest news, information, tips, tricks, reviews, and more for Rainbow Six Siege. Additionally, if you haven't already, you can also follow me over at IcyCat25 on either Facebook or Twitter. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.